Today, with my pleasure, I would like to welcome Bilna Sandeep on my show. Hi, Bilna. Welcome to our show. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing.
So what was your first venture?
My first venture is Homepreneurs Club.
How did you motivate yourself to get into business?
Career-wise, I was at the top of my career. Every single person I told that I'm going to quit and start something on my own, the first reaction was, "Are you crazy?" It's like jumping without a parachute. Like, whoa, are you out of your mind?
So, do you say that there's a mindset that a man can give me more business?
No, not in terms of the mindset. I'm talking more in terms of the flexibilities available. A lot of women who quit their careers after having kids, if they were given the opportunity of more flexibility in terms of timings in their work, lot of more women would come back to career force.
Absolutely.
Moms in our culture don't get appreciated at all.
And nobody even comes and appreciates your effort of leaving your career and taking a break to raise a baby because people think that's your job.
You are never even allowed to complain because they tell you, you know what, you are privileged to sit at home.
I want to just change this slogan of Habibi come to Dubai. I want to change it to Habibti come to Dubai.
Yes.
All the Habibtis across the globe, if you feel unsafe anywhere, just come to Dubai.
I just pack your bags and come.
Hello everyone, this is Rupa and today I'm here in Business Blueprints with another amazing entrepreneur. And for my this series, this is my first woman entrepreneur on the show. And she's a strong and dynamic lady, an amazing leader. And the best part, Bilna has been my client as well. And I have seen her journey from the construction industry to the marketing, and from marketing to Homepreneurs Club, a community builder. I have seen her wearing a lot of hats. So today, with my pleasure, I would like to welcome Bilna Sandeep on my show. Hi, Bilna. Welcome to our show. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing and it's great to be on your show. Thank you so much for inviting me here.
Trust me, I'm so excited and happy to have you on the show. I am a fan of women leaders and especially
Thank you.
multitaskers and risk takers like you. And the way I have seen you exploring different things, I think the second name of risk is Bilna Sandeep.
Oh my God. That was the best compliment I could get.
Exactly, because many
Nice.
people say that women they avoid risks and they play very safe.
True, true.
But I think you are among the ones who is into breaking barriers. So
I try
trust
my
me,
best.
Bilna, I really want to jump on my first question and the most important one.
Yes.
Who is Bilna Sandeep? And why the women in UAE are praising about Bilna Sandeep?
I think the praising part, I've been fortunate enough for that, maybe. But who Bilna Sandeep is, again, I run Homepreneurs Club. That is something that's my passion project that I work on. It's a women entrepreneurs community right now based in UAE. We have vision of going global soon as well. I'll come to it as we discuss more and like that. And then I'm also a civil engineer. I used to work in construction industry in UAE for more than 12 years, after which I went into entrepreneurship. So that is the base of everything which I have, because because I used to work as a commercial and contracts expert in the construction industry. So when you're working in commercial and contract side of businesses, you're always exposed to the P&Ls of the companies. You see big numbers, you see where the numbers changes. How can a company go into loss? I've seen companies that went into loss. I've seen the companies that has gone profitable. So I've dealt with a lot of huge projects, and so that is what the base is. Still, whenever I talk to people in the club or anywhere outside, I always am a numbers person.
And that's very rare. A lot of time people say that women they hate numbers,
I know.
but you see how women are doing great in.
Yes, yes. So I think that perception, like you said, is there. Like, that women are not good with. So the construction industry itself not very familiar with a lot of women, right?
Absolutely.
So
Very
that
male
is where I
dominant
come. It's
industry.
a very
So how
male
did you
dominated.
choose to become a civil engineer? Why did you choose civil engineering out of all?
Throughout my school life and throughout my childhood, I wanted to be an astronaut.
Ah,
And I recently came to know, I did my till my 10th grade in Bahrain. So one of the boys in Bahrain, recently I spoke to him and he said, "Do you know, we used to call you Kalpana Chawla." without you knowing.
Ooh.
Okay, because we had a career counseling session in school, and they were asking who you want to be. I stood up and said, I want to be an astronaut.
Astronaut.
And then from that time, they used to call me by that name, but I didn't know they were doing
So
that.
you were always aiming for the moon.
Yes, I was always aiming for that, but unfortunately, I couldn't reach there. So after my grade 12, I wanted to actually take aeronautical engineering and all, but I'm an only child, and my parents used to be always scared of sending me away, and so those opportunities were not there in that locality. And I had good score in engineering entrance exams. So the next best option, which I thought was, okay, let me take something like construction field. So when I went for it, I had a lot of people in my family tell me, no, you can't go for that field because it's not for women. It's not easy. I mean, they meant good for me. They wanted me to have an easy life. So they were like, no, don't go for it. It's not easy field. But it was only my dad and my grandmother who actually supported my decision, to go into construction. So I went. Yes, it was a huge support.
But after completing studies, when you landed in the job, in the
Yes,
industry,
yes.
then did you regret your decision?
Never. So after that 4 years of engineering, again, I had people tell me, you know what, you go and take masters and join a engineering college to teach because that's a safer bet for women,
That's
or you go for a software
right.
industry. So again, I didn't want to. Again, I had to fight to go there. So when lot of my classmates and friends were entering into companies like Infosys, TCS, everyone, we had those campus placements back then,
Yeah.
right? So I was, and they were getting quite good pay scales for a starter, fresher. And I chose to go to a local contracting company in Kerala at that time, which was only paying like 3,500 rupees. And that was not even enough to actually go and come back. It won't even cover my bus
Cover
fee.
your
Bus,
transport
yes.
fees.
But I enjoyed those days because I was just going, entering, walking in the mud, going into the piling sites, all those,
Wow.
and as a site engineer, because I never had the practical experience, so I wanted to touch and feel everything.
That's why
So
I said second name of risk is Bilna Sandeep.
that was my life back then. Almost 7, 8 months I did that. And then I was keeping on applying jobs to Bahrain. My dad was working in Bahrain. So I went to Bahrain, then worked there for a year. Then by the time I got married, so my husband was working in Abu Dhabi. I moved with him. So then I started my career here in UAE again. Then the next 12 years here in UAE in the construction.
So like 15 to 20 years in the construction industry you worked.
12 years, 1 year
12
in
years.
Bahrain, and here 11 and half, something like that. So
Right.
total of 12 years in
Then
construction.
how this shift from construction industry suddenly to marketing?
I mean, the whole story is like I used to blog, I used to write on websites. So I had taken a 1 year career break in between when my son was born. Like when he was 1 year old, I went into that, mommy guilt phase where I was like, no, I need to be with him. So I decided to take a break. I took it for 1 year. During that time, I started writing casually on blogs. So in order to make people read the blog, I learned how do I actually make the blog look beautiful, how do I develop my own website, everything through YouTube. Like all the everything I learned was on YouTube at that time, self study. And it was not a very well built blog, but every day I was trying to improve it little more. Then I started learning a bit of SEO. How do I do search engine, because I want people to find my blog and read it. And that time, I unknowingly, I was building a community of moms around me because I was writing about parenting. My life as a new mom. That is what I used to write. So people used to relate to it. And I was already building a small community back then. And then I wanted, like, people when started reading and noticing, I started getting a lot of brand collaborations. Like you see the influencers today. At that time, we didn't have Instagram
Much
big.
of
Yeah,
influences.
it
So
was
these
more of
bloggers were
bloggers. Yes, this is why people call bloggers the influencers, but they are not actual bloggers. It's people who write were the bloggers at that time, right? So we used to get collaborations. I used to get invited to a lot of staycations and all those, and I used to write on my blog about it. A lot of people still call me Monsoon Breeze. That was the name of my blog back
oh
then.
wow, Monsoon Reach. Very
Yeah.
vivid.
And then after a year, I went back to work.
Yeah.
But at that time, I tried my hand at running a business, which was I start like a lot of women were approaching me. They were having Facebook pages running their small businesses from home. That is when I first launched an Instagram page called Homepreneurs.
Oh, wow.
You know,
And which
this
year was
was like
this?
2014.
2014.
Yeah, so it was a small page to showcase women run
See how I'm
businesses.
getting goosebumps. Like, a seed,
Yeah, the
sown
seeds of it was planted back
2014.
then,
And then that time we didn't even know it will become
I
a
had
commercial
no clue of
community.
it. I never had a idea. I didn't know about communities at that time. And then I started managing a few of their Facebook pages, marketing. That was my first step into marketing. But I didn't have any support at home. Like, I didn't have a house help or anyone. So my son was small. I couldn't manage all of it together. I didn't have the courage to hire people. So what I did was I let go. I said, after a month, I told them, no, I don't think this is for me. It's just burning me out. And I didn't continue it. So, but that was my first step into the marketing side of things. And then I went back to work. But my Instagram was growing then. My blogging went down because there was not much time. But I used to write and, post on Instagram. That community was growing. Then, over a period of time, I moved to Dubai and COVID came. Right. When COVID happened, I saw a lot of women were like quitting their jobs or they lost their jobs and they were starting small businesses from home.
Yes.
Right. So that
There
was
was a big jump
as a
in.
business setup company, you also might know, right? The number of
Absolutely.
licenses that kept happening that time would have been huge, right? A lot of people
Exactly.
went into, and we were also discussing about how many people we don't even know they exist, like,
Yes.
right?
So many businesses from home. They're not
Yes,
even registered,
exactly. There are
you
so
know?
many people who are not registered. And at that time, my following was not just in UAE, there were a lot of women in India as well. And there it's not mandatory to take licenses as well, right? So, but they were growing, but they didn't have a direction, right? How to take it to next level. So I started sharing business tips and Instagram growth tips because I knew I had grown my Instagram. So I was telling, this is the best posting time, this is how you get people to save your post, share your post.
So you started helping other women,
Yes,
you know,
for
uh,
free,
for free
for free
to
on
learn
Instagram.
what you researched in this time.
Exactly, yes,
And most
whatever I
of the
learned.
moms I've seen when they become new moms and suddenly they leave everything and they literally change their routine. And that is where anxiety and frustration starts. And the best part that I like about you, and I like about many moms, that even if they're taking a small sabbatical break, but they still indulge in something creative, something that they can do from their house. It can be blogging, vlogging, writing, consulting. It can be anything which can also keep you engaged, at the same time gives you ample amount of time to heal your body and take care of your kid as well. Because this dilemma is always there, that whether women should take a break or not. And trust me, from my experience, I do suggest people do take break, because I remember after my baby I just joined back within 15 days. But after a year, I started, you know, suffering, seeing the effects, what happened with to my body. And then I felt, no, I should have
You
taken
should have
taken a
taken that
break.
break.
So am for sure, I will endorse the thought of taking a break,
Yes,
giving rest to your body,
you
let it
deserve
heal.
it,
You
right?
deserve it, and to give time and love to
Yes,
that baby
yes,
as well. But
yes,
at the same time, take out some time to engage the professional you
yes.
in
So that you don't
something.
get into that depressed state as well.
Exactly. And see, and you never know, wonders can happen.
Like you, my maternity break, I think I took 3 months break, went back, and when my son was 1 year old, I quit. So until that last day, I mean, even the pregnancy days, until the last day, I was working in the site office and construction site office with the big tummy, walking on the sites and all those. And then even after my son was born, when I was working, it was very busy mind, right? And the moment I quit, I saw a huge gap. I couldn't accept it, like I thought I would never go back to work. That is the thought I had while I was resigning from my job. I thought, like, I'm going to be that perfect mom, going to take care of my kids. And, that was my thought process while quitting. But after quitting, I couldn't take it. It was very hard on me. Like, there was no adult interaction in my life. Like, it was me and my son looking at each other. That is where I started writing. So that then it started getting busy. So that was my way of also adapting to the new life that I was in, and maybe somewhere I wanted to get some sort of appreciation, because this is something that happens, right? Moms in our culture don't get appreciated at all. Yeah, like when we are sitting and doing all the stuffs at home, there's nobody coming and appreciating you. Whereas in office, every time you complete a project, you do something, you get work, you get your salaries on time, you get your bonuses, hikes, everything keeps coming.
But as a mother, you don't. And nobody even comes and appreciates your effort of leaving your career and taking a break to raise a baby because people think that's your job. So sometimes you don't even get appreciated or patted on your back.
Right? And you are never even allowed to complain because they tell you, you know what, you are privileged to sit at home. Your husband is working, he's earning. So why are you even complaining? Right? So that's the kind. So I know a lot of women who's gone through this phase. And at that time, so one reason I launched the community was also because that time we were in Abu Dhabi and I didn't have a driving license. So none of our relatives or friends were staying nearby. So I used to try and take my son outside to play in the parks. There was nobody I knew. And I used to literally cry while walking to the park and coming back, thinking, "Oh, I wish I met some friend or somebody if I could make friends with."
So that is where you understood that the value of community in today's world. Because see, today's woman is not living in a particular place. Today's woman is moving around, is going for jobs different places. They're globetrotters. They're nomads. But when you go to different places, you also face dissertation. Like suddenly you are alone in the island and you know nobody, and you have to start from the scratch. And in today's world where neighbor doesn't know what's happening in the other's house, I think the credibility only comes when you are part of a community. So that's why community building, and COVID showed us the power of community. Why do we need, community building in this world of
In this
nano
world,
families?
yes, COVID
Yeah.
time, I think a lot of businesses also started sprouting.
Right. So now, Bilna, after so you took a break. You got into this. You realized that you need to start something of your own. But when you thought of starting your business, now especially from families where everybody is doing job, suddenly when a woman stands up and says that I'm going to do business, what was the reaction? What kind of support you got or you were looking for? Because I can relate. Like in my family, I think we are generations. Everybody being in the service class, we are taught like that. And I think in 10 generations, I'm the first woman to do a business. So, what was I really want to know that phase. And how did you motivate yourself to get into business?
Career wise, I was at the top of my career.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was a point. So, and I was managing a huge team, and it was one of the best contracting construction companies in UAE. So, where every single person I told that I'm gonna quit and start something on my own, the first reaction was, "Are you crazy?"
Are you crazy?
It's like jumping without a parachute. Like, are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
Everybody had the same reaction, be it my colleagues, be it my friends or my
Families.
family. Everybody had the same reaction. There was only one person who supported me. He is I treat him as my mentor. He's also from the construction industry. His name is Ramesh. He used to run coaching programs for construction professionals. So he had quit his job maybe 2 years before I had quit.
Okay.
And he was doing well in his business. So I went and met him at a coffee shop while I was still working, and I told him this is my idea. So he was like, "Okay, Bilal, now let's sit and write down. You have all the ideas all over the place, but why don't you start structuring what you actually want to do? Put numbers to it." So he's the one who actually started putting business sense to that.
Right.
But everybody else were just, okay, it's not going to work, or even if it works, you will never earn what you are earning now in your business, or it's going to take you a lot of time to reach there. But I was like, if I don't do it now, I think I was 31 or 32 at that time. So if I don't do it now, maybe 10 years down the lane, I might regret that I never tried it. So why not try
Absolutely.
it now? And of course, if I think, if everything goes wrong, I could go back.
Yeah, and one big mistake what
Right?
people do is when they're transiting from a well-paid job to
Yes.
business, they compare what you're earning now in the job and what you will be earning now in the business. But they don't see 10 years in that job, the growth, and 10 years in that business, the next 10 years, they don't compare that. I think that's the first mistake that they do.
I think there's no right guidelines in the market, right? Because there's nobody to tell you these things. Once you now you know that because you have been running the business for some time. But when we are at that point while quitting, we are not connected to a business community that time. Everybody I spoke to were not business owners. So I was getting wrong. So the only person who gave me the advice,
Mr.
he's
Ramesh.
been a
So
business.
now Mr. Ramesh got things on
Yes.
paper,
Yes.
put numbers to the
Yes.
ideas.
So now I had that confidence, right? Then I went and spoke to my company. I'm going to quit in the next 6 months' time. So I didn't just directly jump into it. I gave enough notice period to the company, to the people around me to get used to it, and for me myself to get used to the idea. Okay, I'm going to be on my own in 6 months' time. So I was preparing myself. I was so one thing I used to do, like my home was in Qusay side, and my office used to be in Jebel Ali. So the almost 3 4 years I was driving up and down. One drive itself takes you 1.5 hours in the traffic, right? I used to listen to a lot of podcasts and online courses. So it was like every day 2 3 hours of learning, like brainstorming, like, with myself over
See,
while
so I'm
driving.
literally noting down something over here, pattern over here, which I think a very good message for all the women also. What I see is every phase of your life, whenever you have space in your life, let's say if you have taken a break from your job or if you have a break from home to office, you learn. You read, you listen, but you try to get knowledge. And I think that is one big force that is work that enlightens you and that is working.
I consume a lot of content, and I try to put it. So if in my life I'm very messy. If you see my table, you'll see all the stuff on the table. But if you open my laptop or on my phone, you will see folders well organized. Every topic you will find it. I have a Google Drive in which I, like, a lot of websites, they'll give you free ebook to download and all. Every single time I see something, I'll download and I'll make sure I put it in the right
In the right folder.
folder, so when I need it I can go and pick it.
Go and pick it. Wow.
So in that way I'm organized, but in my life, if you see in my home or my table, I'm very
So
messy.
what was your first venture?
My first venture is Homepreneurs Club. So how it started was the COVID time. So when I saw a lot of women were doing it, I started giving a lot of video tips on my Instagram channel, and I started a small YouTube channel also where I was sharing tips on how do you grow your business and all. And then I was like, the interest was more. Then I thought I need to put a structured learning format to it. I launched an Instagram for small business as a course,
Okay.
digital course,
Oh, wow.
so this I ran 3 batches of it.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
then
was
I
it
was
paid?
like,
Was it free?
it was a paid
Oh,
paid
nice.
program. We were I think charging 200 or 250 dirhams per person.
Okay.
And it was like a 8 weeks. No, it wasn't 8 weeks. It was a, I think, 2 week. It was a 2 week program with
Two-week
8
program.
modules.
Okay.
So I had structure, again my structured. I had
Mm.
that folder wise, how do you start the account, to how do you start posting, creating content, everything was there in the
Mm.
structure. And I ran for 3 batches.
Mm.
Most of it were women who enrolled for it. And the next thought was, so this is something this part of it is something I haven't shared with a lot of people. The thought of Homepreneurs Club came out of desperation. Like, I saw somebody who I was connected to on Instagram started doing something similar. Okay,
Yeah.
then I was feeling very insecure. Right now, if I see that, it doesn't. That time I was new to all this. I was feeling very insecure. Somebody's trying to copy what I'm doing. Then I want to do something different. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let me bring these people together and start a community. So there was no other intention. I didn't know what this was
You
headed
just
to.
wanted to be different.
Yeah, I just wanted to be different. Plus, one thing I listened to when I was speaking to these people were, like, because they were not connected to each other, they were all separate. This WhatsApp group was there, plus these sessions were all recorded sessions live, they could watch at their own pace. So they were not talking to each other.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe if they talk to each other, maybe they might even start buying from each other. So there
Mm.
was like, maybe community is a better idea. And I researched, and my Homepreneurs Club, even now, right from then to now, it's hosted on a platform called Kajabi.
Okay.
It's a course creators platform.
Okay.
It gives you how to host your courses, how to do your email marketing. All of it is there. It's
They
a
call it Kajabi tribe or something, right?
Yeah, it's Kajabi. It's called
Mm.
Kajabi, and I started in that.
Mm.
Very so at that point in time, it was a big investment because I didn't know where this was going, and I was like,
Mm.
should I really spend that much monthly on a platform like that? Will I
Yeah.
have enough people who's gonna continue monthly on it, right?
Yes.
But I just took the plunge, and some of those founding members are still our members.
Wow.
Yeah,
Very
so
nice.
and then through them, so then it's, I think as entrepreneur, one of the skills we need to have is observation skills, right?
Yeah.
What our customer wants. So I used to speak to them, try to understand what their problem is. Then slowly we started developing it as a proper community. It was initially only some webinars we were doing for the community. Every month we would do 2 or 3 webinars. I was still working that time,
Right.
so my that time, so I was not taking the risk element yet because I was still there working. It was over the weekends that I was doing the webinars. It was going fine. I hired one person who would do all the backends for me, and it went well for almost a year. That is when I was thinking of quitting, and I started getting inquiries through the club for marketing.
Wow.
So we have never had men as our members. Only one time I let a guy in. So that was like, he was like, don't give me access to your community, but I love your teachings. Can I just get the
Join
teaching part of it only? Just watch your
the
webinars. So I gave him access. After listening to all the webinars, he came and told me. So he was a restaurant owner. So he told me, Bilna, can you please help me with the marketing? I don't have the time to implement what you're teaching. I was
right.
like, even I don't have time. I'm working. So he was like, no, I don't want to hire any agency. If you are doing it, we want to do it. Then
Mm.
I was like, okay. I hired 2, 3 freelancers, and that's how we started running his restaurant page. Then one became two, three, like that. The clients started
And
growing.
that's your
That's
marketing
when
company started.
marketing. That's how the marketing company started. And then after a few months, like that's when I started talking to people that I'm quitting. Until then, I had no plan of quitting.
So, Bilna, from starting from
Yes,
that seed to making a little money or enough
yes.
money, or let's say break even, how much time it took?
It took me, so all the businesses together, I would say maybe at least 2 years to
2 years.
really get into a mode in which we were starting to make some money out of it, because whatever I was getting, I was putting back,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because first 1 year when the club was running, I didn't need to take the money because I was working full time.
Yeah.
So at that time, I was like, whatever comes, I put back.
Put it back. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the strategy. And I was growing, and so I was investing into a lot of courses even then, like how to. So one of the courses which I took was Amy Porterfield. She has a digital course academy.
Okay.
That is when the club started actually getting the structure to it, because then I realized, okay, this is how you actually have a digital course, and this is how you launch the courses. I learned from that. That was at that time I didn't have to think twice because I was working. I think they charged $2,000 for the course, but it was so good. So something which I realized, we as women is, we are scared to invest into our growth.
Exactly.
So a lot of people were like, to run a digital course, you want to invest $2,000 in a course? I was like, it's not a big amount. I'm going to learn from that. One or two members come itself, I'll break even on that. Why would I not
Because
invest?
at the end, when you're not learning, ultimately, when you outsource, you pay double or triple or
Yeah,
10 times more.
yeah, and then you still
So,
don't know what's happening,
still you can't audit.
right? Because we
Exactly.
are just hiring experts. They'll tell you this is right or wrong, but you don't know if it is right or wrong, right?
Absolutely. So your this 2 year startup journey, I'm packing it as, from learning things to having the spirit of helping, because that became a reason of inspiration for the business, and then organizing it and making it coachable, where you teach people and make money, thinking how to make money out of it, and then building a community around it, and then diverging into listening to the customers and their other needs, and getting into, let's say, blue ocean, or serving with them with other services. So it's an amazing and a very organic journey I see over here. Now, in this journey, since you were in Dubai and this was all happening in UAE, I really want to bring this: how easy or difficult was it as a woman to do business in Dubai?
I would say it was. If I were in India, I probably wouldn't even have thought of starting a business, because the reason being, like I've seen, even when we go on a vacation, if you want to get something done in a government office, I have to go for 4 or 5 times at least even to get the right information.
Right.
It takes me a lot of
A lot
time,
of time.
right? There's a lot of walls you have to cross.
Hierarchies and
Yes. But here, so the very first license I took was a DED trader license. I went to
right.
DED Cafe and got it there.
Wow. The
Like,
1500 dirham license.
yes, the first license when I launched the digital course, that is the license I had. So nothing was there, right? And then after that, now I'm with you, like you help us
Right.
with. Again, I am not going to any office. Your team comes on my doorstep, takes a takes the Emirates ID. They will bring it back the next day, or whatever documents they want, they come. Like it's all in the fingertips,
Right.
right? There's so much convenience here, and there's so, as women, there's a lot of safety also.
Right.
Like I don't have to be scared of walking into a new office for a meeting,
Yeah.
because I know nothing is going to happen.
Absolutely.
But if I were in India, if somebody calls me, come to a meeting in my office, I would think twice. Oh, is it safe for me to go there? Here, there's nothing like that. Whenever I get an appointment, I just go there, right?
Exactly. I remember here we have done meetings at night, 2 o'clock, three
Yeah.
o'clock, in any hotel, in any office. We have drove on roads. We have gone to airports alone to different
Yes.
countries. We have done, sometimes when we are late, we have done our grocery shoppings at midnight.
Yes.
And trust me, I think I'm sure women in many other countries would be surprised to know this, how we
Yes.
live in Dubai. So, in my 12 years in UAE, I have never encountered a single moment where I have been scared, or I have been, be scared of anything as a woman.
Yes.
Like, whether I'm driving on the road, whether I'm walking on the road, whether I'm going to a market. And I think that's a bliss, because
True.
that
Because
gives you the courage to experiment everything and
yes.
go all out.
Yes. If you have the right mindset, you can do business here
Yeah.
very well.
I want to just change this slogan of Habibi come to Dubai. I want to change it to Habibti come to Dubai.
Yes.
All the Habibtis across the globe, if you feel unsafe anywhere, just come to Dubai.
Yeah, just pack your bags and come. Because
Oh,
everything, even if you want to work here, or if you want to, because while I was working in construction industry again,
yeah.
it's a male dominated industry.
Right.
There also I have gone to the sites, walked the sites at the night time. Whatever time I go, there is so much of safety. I don't have to think twice, oh my God, what will happen to me?
So now that, how many members are there in Homepreneurs now?
I have more than 160 members.
And now that you're dealing with so many women, now one, you said that okay, most of the women wanted to know about marketing from you. They needed help in marketing. But apart from that, what do you think as a woman when they're starting their business? Because you hear out everybody. What are the biggest or major challenges that they face when they're running the business? Is it marketing? Is it something else?
So I think with women, there are two types of challenges I see.
Mm.
One is the internal challenges, which is associated with our own mindset.
Yeah.
One is the external part of it. So I'll start off probably with the external side of
Yeah.
it. So the external factors are like the opportunities that come to women, and a lot of times are lesser compared to men, right? Now, even if you look at a lot of our global networking platforms, I feel it is aligned for men, right? So because so that is one reason we are trying to change it in the Homepreneurs Club as well. We
Right.
want to make, because when as women, when I was returning to my career
So, do
also.
you say that there's a mindset, and that is why more men are there in different networking organizations? There's a mindset that a man can give me more business.
No, not in terms of the mindset. I'm talking more in terms of the flexibilities available, time
I
flexibilities,
got it.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if I see a lot of women who quit their careers
Mm.
after having kids, if they were given the opportunity of more flexibility in terms of timings in their work, lot of more women would come back to career force.
Absolutely. And I'm still surprised after having so many women in the workforce. Till today, there are hardly any offices where there are pregnancy friendly chairs, where there are timings like that, or kids friendly environment. I think one in 100 or 1,000 does that, and suddenly they are on the news. That they have, as if it is something so special. It's a huge thing. It's a huge favor that they have done.
Same I see in the business networking communities. When it is a men oriented communities, right? It's that they don't understand that part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you have meetings, sometimes you have to drop your kids. You might have small kids, they might be crying at home. I know you
Yeah,
might also have face, you also have a small kid at home,
absolutely.
right? And at some point you're hurt. So it's not stopping any women, by the way. Like
Yeah.
we are very strong, we go and go do it,
But we
but
are ambitious. We don't want to miss
we are very
opportunities.
ambitious, right? So it has never stopped me either. But there has been a lot of times I felt very guilty for leaving them early in the morning, or all those things.
Right.
So that's one thing which I feel. So something that we are trying to solve through our Homepreneurs Club. People ask us, why do you not have a community for both men and women together? My intention is to solve the problems of women and still they get the same opportunity. So, which
Right.
is why we have put our meetings in flexible timings. Like every week we meet, one is in the morning, one is in the afternoon. We have in person, we have online. So, we give different
Wow.
opportunities.
So Homepreneurs is curated
It's
around
curated around
women
women.
entrepreneurs
Yes,
with the kind of flexibility that they
yes.
need to
Yet
run
they
their business.
want to have that opportunity of being able to pass strong business opportunities to each other.
Right.
So that's a whole concept around it. So this is the external factors. So
Yeah.
these kind of factors. And the second part is the mind conditioning of the society,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, especially in our Indian communities, women are expected to be the mother who takes care of your kids,
Yeah.
your kids' school timing, their exams, when is their exams coming, all those things, including my home, right?
Absolutely.
All the men that I'm very close to in my close circles, very few of them are there equally taking responsibility, cooking or washing or taking changing diapers or anything. Very few of them. Even the ones who do, they think that, oh, I'm doing a favor to my wife, not
Yeah.
as my responsibility. So that is changing in the current generation. So what happens is, as a woman, you are ambitious, you want to reach there, but there's so many factors pulling you down.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
So and the other conditioning which I've seen is, I see a lot of very ambitious women who come to us in the Homepreneurs Club as a member. They say, right, you are the average of 5 people who you hang out with.
Yes.
And most of the time, this 5 people is our close family members. And so if your dreams are here, but probably their expectations are here,
Right.
it's so hard to break through that ceiling and go there.
Very true.
Because when you're talking about your dreams, the people sitting next to you are thinking, ah, she's talking bullshit. She started with her dreams again. So if the people around you are not believing in your dreams, it's so hard to get out of it and get into the next level.
So do you think when all these surveys comes, like, women CEO ratio is so less compared to men,
Yes,
or women leaders in the market are less than, so do you think a lot of these factors are responsible for that?
yes, it could be,
It's
right?
not that there are not capable candidates, but it's just that a lot of them just sacrifice it for a lot of
A lot of other
to handle the
things.
other part of the ecosystem.
I personally face a lot of mom guilt.
Mm.
At a lot of times, I feel like I'm not being enough for my kids. I'm not
And
always
then the
there for
self
my
fight is
kids.
also there.
Yeah, the self
Like,
thing,
because
right?
now we are nurtured like
Yes.
that.
So then it
So we
happens.
also start doubting.
We also start doubting, right? Because every time when you're hearing this from around you, you get influenced,
Right,
right? So these are the external. Now, the internal factors is our own mindset,
right.
right? So one is again taking risk.
Do you think it is because since childhood, women are not given enough power to spend their own money on themselves?
It could be.
Maybe they are asked to always check with somebody, with the
Yes,
father, with the brother.
yes,
So that's why even when we are grown up, we doubt ourselves that whether this investment that I'm doing is.
is it right for me? Will I get judged for it? Will people tell that
Mhm.
you went and lost that dirhams, right,
Mhm.
or nothing? So
Yeah.
you get judged as, oh, you're not smart enough in making your financial decisions.
Mm,
Like if a man loses in his business,
mm,
people don't always blame them, right? They
right.
say the circumstances, the market was
Mm.
down, that's why the business went down. But when women, they are like, you had other choices, it was your choice to get into business.
So with all this, let's say, problems or negativity around a woman, let's say, especially, I'm sure there are some women who are really blessed and who get supported like anything, but I'm sure there are many women who are absolutely in the dark hole, and they don't know what to do, and they're literally surrounded by absolute negativity, or maybe a thought process that they are not made for this industry. What is your mantra or suggestion to them? How do they come out of it, or how do they manage their mind, their mental balance?
One thing which I personally do, right, the first part is the mindset, right? So to get into that mindset, when your people around you especially are not believing in you. So that's what we're discussing about, right? When you are in a dark hole where people are not there to actually believe in the kind of dreams that you have, even if it's a small dream, if they're not supporting. One is to change your attention to places where you can learn,
Wonderful.
so YouTube is a free resource.
Yeah.
There are so many podcasts where you can learn the stories of people or learn technical details of what you want to start, or. So instead of sitting and crying what I don't have, okay, I don't have support of my family, okay, fine, I don't have, but what can I sit here and learn right now, and what can I start implementing slowly, slowly. you
Mm.
you might not want to jump into the ocean the next day.
And do wonders in one day.
Yeah, but instead do small, small. So let's stop complaining and start doing small, small things that will start bringing big difference in your life.
Right.
So just to take one small, like when you say, okay, I want to go and start my license and start the company now, maybe you might have to face a lot of hurdles, but maybe you can prepare yourself to get there a lot of other things,
Right.
right? Maybe you can prep your social media already before
Ab-
you start.
right.
So there are so many things which we are not aware that we have already, which we are not utilizing.
So you're saying when you don't get that support outside, dive inside
Dive inside.
and
Look at
find
what we have.
find the pearls that you have inside.
Exactly.
Keep collecting the pearls
Yes.
till you're ready to sell it in the market.
Exactly. And
Right?
slowly you can also start selling also in the level which you can afford to,
Mm.
in the situation you are in. Sometimes, so I see a lot of women, they might have started very small by selling cupcakes in their building
Mm-hmm.
for their friends' birthday parties. And later they might have grown to start their own bakeries also,
Yes.
right? If they had stopped there thinking, I don't have the finances, I don't have the knowledge to run a bakery, they would have never you are not opening your bakery first, right?
Right.
You have to reach there.
Right.
So cross the milestones one by one and reach
Absolutely.
there. So,
And I want to add on my mantra, like when I face because we all have come from very small towns,
yes,
and we all have encountered those rebuttals, and
yes,
and I'm sure that time what I used to do is just close my eyes and believe in my dreams. I
yes,
used to hold on to my dreams no matter
yes,
everybody around, no matter what they're saying. I used to tell to myself, this will happen. I
yes.
am dreaming this. I am
That
enjoying this dream.
visualization.
Visualization, exactly. And I used to
Yes,
keep it in front of me, and I used to keep thinking, this will happen, this will happen. So nobody would have believed that, some a
yes.
girl in that small town, hardly having, breads to eat in 3 times, and suddenly
But you didn't reach there overnight. You were taking that step every single day, right?
think to all the women, whatever you're dreaming, if you yourself will think it's impossible,
Then it won't.
how the universe will come to help
Yes,
help you to achieve that. So I think that's amazing. So now, Bilna, now that we know, now women, they, let's say, start their business and everything. Now the next question comes is, how do you think when it comes to scaling up the businesses?
yes,
Now when it comes to scaling up, now they have to take care of marketing,
yes,
profits, build teams, because without building more teams, you
yes.
can't scale up to, you can only scale up to a certain level.
Very true.
What is your view or observation, how good or bad women are in as a team builders?
I have seen both the types. I have seen people who scaled up very well, having their own good teams and everything. I have seen people who are very scared to do that as well. Because alone you can only go to a certain point. After that, if you want to scale, you need to learn to let go. Because some people, it's not that they don't have the money to hire, they are scared to hire because will that person be able to do the work as good as I do?
So what is your mantra, what is your formula when you're recruiting? What do you see, how do you build your team?
So I think it was a meeting which I had with you like 2 years back. I think it was, we were discussing about this. So that time I was still in that growing phase and you told me one thing which really impacted me. You asked me the question, what is the hardest thing to buy? I said time. You said, Vilna, if once you cross a stage where you have money, you can buy time by buying people, like by hiring people. But the trust is not something you can
You
buy,
can buy.
right?
Yes.
That really stuck to me. So after that, every time I'm hiring, I'm also looking at those processes. I feel when you're hiring people, it's not just about the talent. It also has to be about the attitude of the people and how you can sync well with them, how coachable they are, how much can you train them to next level. They don't have to know everything when they're coming. I mean, this is my policy. You don't need to know, because as an SME, I cannot compete in the market for talents by paying them the highest salary, because there will always be a better company who can pay and grab them,
Exactly.
right? So what is that I can provide better to them? So one thing I have seen with my team so far, whoever has worked with me, who are still with me, and who has gone to other companies also, one thing I see is there's a huge transformation in them from the time they join me to the time they have left me or they are still with us, right? And I don't have a problem in my team leaving also, because I believe everybody needs growth, right? So as a founder, there are two things I can do to retain my team. One is I should grow so big that I am matching their dreams.
Right.
So, or the second is I should be able to let go. But every team member that's left me also, they are like my brand ambassadors. When somebody says she has worked with Bilna,
Well,
I want people to see that difference.
I so much resonate with you on the same thing, because I think women are natural nurturers. So sometimes we can't think selfishly. We like to give it all, teach them all, make them perfect, make them our clone. And obviously, when somebody becomes so perfect, they would like to be another Vilna Sandeep. And there's no harm on it, I think, But yes, maybe initial in the business as new business owners, we take some time to absorb it. Initially, it literally pinches.
It was hard to see them go, but then now I am at a point where if I have given them enough value, if I have made a change in their life, it's okay.
It will come back
It
in the
will come
universe, the
back.
feeling of
Yes.
abundance.
Yes.
But do you think people think that it is easy to break women's trust?
I have seen there are people who try to do that. Like they
Mm.
think, it might be a small company. It's run by a woman.
Hmm.
We might. So I think it's all
It might
about,
not grow as big.
yeah, I feel as women, one superpower all of us have is our intuition,
Intuition, absolutely.
right?
You're very intuitive.
Yeah, because I think that is something biologically it is built in, because we were built to nurture our young ones and take care of them from the dangers. So we knew when the danger was coming.
Right.
Right? So I think we have that intuition power. I think we need to nurture our intuition power, uh, observe more of our intuition. Like I have seen, be it any kind of business partnership we got into or any hiring, if any time in my intuition said no and I still went ahead, I have screwed up.
I absolutely agree. So, all most of my business decisions that I've taken and I've grown, like when I didn't have the data also in my hand, but if my intuition said, no, I think Oman will do good in the next 3 years, let's go to
Very
Oman.
nice.
I think Saudi will do, let's go to Saudi. These all happened intuitively. By that time, I didn't have the data in my hand. It just
Yes.
happened by
So you
intuition.
knew that in your mind it is gonna
It is
work
gonna
out,
work.
right?
So, Bilna, time just passed so fast today.
Yes.
I had so many questions, but at least now that this will be my last question for this
Yes.
podcast. But I really want another podcast with you because I have so many questions in stock.
Yes.
So my last question is, what is the next step of the risk taker, Bilna? We have seen, homepreneurs doing successful
Yes.
in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi. We have seen your marketing company going to
Yes.
places. We have seen your podcast interviewing amazing entrepreneurs from big brands.
Yes.
What's the next big thing Bilna Sandeep is going to do?
So my personal theme for 2025. So I do vision boards every year, and in the center I put a word for me to focus more on. So what I've put in my word is level up.
Level up.
Yeah, so for me, it is level up in everything that I'm doing. So now, if I look at Homepreneurs Club, this month we had our very first international member join us. We had a lady from New Zealand who joined us, and she told us she's been following us for the last 1 year, and now I feel is the right time to join your club as a member.
Wow.
Yeah. So the next thing that we had, I mean, even otherwise, we had this as a plan was to go global. So as a first step, we are going to start by making our, so every month we have one online networking event. We're going to start taking it global. From February, it's going to be a global networking event. We're going to call it as Global Connect. So that's one thing. We also want to start doing a yearly expo.
Right.
Again, Global Expo, wherein we start bringing women entrepreneurs, not just women entrepreneurs, a lot of supply chain from different parts of the world and start doing expo here under the brand name of Homepreneurs Club. So this is something huge we have in
Wow, this
plan.
is huge. So you're saying
Yes,
Homepreneurs is going global.
we are going global. So
Wow, that's
that's next
wonderful.
step. Yes.
And also women across the globe will have opportunity to come and participate in the expo that
Yes.
Homepreneurs Club will be organizing.
Exactly. So Dubai, as you already know, is a huge hub of business opportunities. So we
Yeah.
want the women in other parts of the
Yeah,
world
I
to
always
be
say
able to
Dubai is the stage
take
and the
use
world
of.
is the audience.
Yes.
Any product or service you just launch in Dubai, the whole world will see.
Yes. Dubai
So,
chocolate.
yes,
See,
Dubai chocolate.
it's not by
Never.
the name, and people have started doing it in every other countries also.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. Wow,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Bilna. It was so nice talking to you.
Thank
And
you.
trust me, I'm feeling so overwhelmed and so warm inside. And
Nice.
I don't know, whenever I see you, I feel like I'm seeing a mirror.
Wow.
And I see everything, every line you say, every statement you say. I feel like, okay, this is exactly what I would have said. And this is
Wow.
exactly what has happened with me.
I resonate very well with you also. Like every
Absolutely.
time I have a meeting with you, I go write down the things you told me because I know I can implement some of
Implement
it,
it one, and you will not believe exactly where I sit. In front of me there's a board level up, and I
Wow.
keep saying, and for the last 4 years, this level
Oh,
up is just in
nice.
front of me. And I always tell myself, Rupa, you have to level up, you have to
Oh,
level up.
nice, nice.
No matter how I go slow or I go fast, but I have to be one level up. Yeah.
Wow.
So, guys, thank you so much for watching us. I hope you liked our show today with Bilna Sandeep. I'm sure you have a lot of takeaways from here. So, all the women entrepreneurs, all the homepreneurs, if you want to grow in the GCC or in the world, please explore and come and join Homepreneurs Club. It's a female community. It is built around your needs. It is curated for women entrepreneurs, considering their routine in mind. So it's a great opportunity to come and network with like-minded women and grow with them. This is Rupa Jha, and today I'm signing off from the Business Blueprint, powered by Black Swan Business Setup Services. Thank you so much.